Mother Love Show, right here on LA Talk Radio.
That's right, babies. Only on LA Talk Radio are you going to get mother love, get the love you want, the love you need. And you know I'm going to give it to you Monday through Friday, live and in living color from the fabulous studios of LATalkRadio.com. This is a great day in talk radio, and I've been talking to people from the Pan-African Film Festival that's going on. It's been going on since February 9th was opening night, and it closes February 20th. And I have been blessed to have some of the directors and the producers and the actors come in. And today you are the director. His name is Rob Underhill, and he is the director of, is it Darhi?
That's right, Darhi.
The Lynching of Emmett Till. Thank you for coming in, and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mother Love.
And welcome to Southern California. I understand that you're from, where did you tell me you're from, Raleigh, North Carolina?
Sure, I've been there 14 years.
So where are you originally from?
Originally from around Lansing, Michigan.
And what made you move to Raleigh, North Carolina?
Well, go to school, and then, I became addicted to the winters there right away, so I didn't go back.
Who gets addicted to winter?
Oh, well, I come from a place when it's 5 months of cloud cover and snow.
Oh, right, from Michigan.
And so North Carolina was a dream come true.
Because it doesn't snow a lot down in North Carolina. See, I'm from Ohio. I'm from Cleveland, so you know. And I've been here 23 years. My blood is so thin, I can't even go back with a month. I got an R in it. So let's talk about the film. What made you decide to direct The Lynching of Emmett Till? And first tell people the story, for people who are under a rock, and especially, I shouldn't say under a rock, and especially our young people, the story of Emmett Till. And I hope I don't get mad all over again.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point to bring up, is that we do have always, of course, a new generation of people who will not know the important stories. And so the Emmett Till story is something that took place in 1955. A Chicago boy comes down to visit family in Money, Mississippi, allegedly whistles at a white woman, and so he's abducted at night. He disappears, and days later he's found dead in a river. Then there's a trial, and the two people that kidnapped the boy are acquitted for the murder, but then later confess to the crime. And so what we're doing with this film is we're taking you through the process of Emmett visiting family.
Oh, so you started from the beginning?
We start jumping on the train, saying bye to his mom, and then we take it to the point of the abduction, then we take you through the trial, and then we also take you through the interviews that Look magazine had with the two killers.
What was that like for you? Now, were you familiar with the story before you started directing it?
No, in fact...
and I just want to point out, Emmett Till was a young black guy. He was only 14 years old when he was beaten to death.
That's right.
Thrown in a marsh or in a creek someplace.
And some boys were going fishing a couple of days later, and that's how the body was found.
So tell me how you got familiar with the story and what made you want to direct this piece.
Sure. This had been a one-man show by Mike Wiley, similarly titled Darhi, The Story of Emmett Till. And he had this on the road. It was very successful. My only purpose originally was to meet a one-man show performer for an idea I had, someone who'd wake up and rehearse all day. And so you might think he's crazy, you might not know what he's talking to himself, but then you eventually realize he's rehearsing for his play, and then you get to see him perform at the very end of it.
Okay.
And that was titled Empty Space.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it went all over the place to festivals. What I needed, though, was content. So I had the idea, but I needed the story, so I decided to, with Mike's permission, use the Emmett Till story. And that was the first time I learned of it, was reading his play.
Wait a minute, you went to Mike Wiley and said, I want to do the Emmett Till story and as a one-man play?
Well, I went to him and said, I just have this great idea, I want to use your story. So then I read the story, and that's when I was blown away with...
When you read the Emmett Till story, what did you think? What went through your head?
Well, it was, of course, very shocking, it was very affecting, and I, of course, was very familiar with what lynching was, but that graphic detail of what had happened and what the killers admitted to doing did have a profound impact on me. And,
how so?
Well, you start to think about what people are capable of when you facilitate the environment where people can, it's almost acceptable to have these feelings, these terrible feelings about another group of people. And
simply because of the color of their skin.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you think about it, slavery has been going on in all nationalities forever.
Absolutely.
And it's just amazing how evil man can be. Scripture says evil doesn't come out of your mouth, evil comes out of your heart. Because if you think that you could do something crazy like that, then what always got me is the justification. Because here's a 14-year-old kid getting off a train, just coming to visit. He might have whistled at her, he might not have whistled at her. We will never know that. And for them to just kidnap this child and take his life, and just and the way that he would, do you all show the beating? I mean, do you show the funeral? Do you go to that part?
Most of the movie is based on the public record,
okay.
The actual testimonies, and then the actual look interviews. We don't go into graphic detail with the actual beating, but we do go into graphic detail with the description. So the killer is actually describing what he's doing.
So it's still graphic.
Oh, you've definitely. I think it has a very similar reaction. I think it's more effective to allow the killer to describe what he did.
Why did you want to direct a piece? Because that had to be a hard piece, though. How difficult did it get for you? If it got difficult for you emotionally, how did it get difficult for you emotionally?
Well, at very first, I really studied his one-man show for the short film.
Oh, so it was the same premise, you just had called it different things.
That's right. So the first one is a actor who's rehearsing parts for the Emmett Till story. The second short film, Wolf Call, is the actual recreation of the look interview with William Bradford Huey interviewing the two killers. So that was the first time we actually had Mike play all three characters. So he literally plays both the killers and William Bradford Huey, and they're all talking to each other. And now you might think, well, that's kind of...
You see my eyes rolling around in my head. I'm going, wait, what? How? What?
But that was the testing ground for the feature film, because we presented that to crowds.
Okay, you got to tell me how you pulled that off.
That's the part where things get cool and interesting. I'm really excited about how we made it happen. Obviously, the story is very tragic.
Now, but you did this in play form.
We did it.
And you shot it.
What we did was we shot the interview. It's a simple table. We've got the old reel-to-reel recorder. We've got the 1920s microphone that William Bradford Huey may have recorded onto. And what we do is we do some traditional 50s and 60s lockdown shots. We'll have Mike do the entire performance of the one of the killers. Then the same space will do the performance of the other killer.
Okay.
And then the same space will do the performance of the interviewer.
Okay.
And then we can bring them all together in the same space.
With the magic of editing.
That's right.
Because I was like, wait, what? Fix that. So when did you know that you wanted to be a director? Have you ever acted?
I've done a little acting, but that was more in the past when I was first starting to do theater. So I used to direct and produce theater productions. For a lack of a lot of available talent when I first started, I had to jump in and play roles as well.
Okay, so you know about the multiple roles.
Sure.
Now, when did you know that you wanted to direct?
I did pretty early on. So what happened is I came down to North Carolina about 14 years ago, and I helped form the first drama club at Wake Tech Community College, which is right there in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I had one of my plays produced. It was a murder mystery dinner theater. And I was like, wow, it's really exciting, so I want to keep doing this, because I love to write. I always loved to write, but I never saw something come to life like that. So then I decided I'm going to actually direct this next one. The next thing you know, I'm producing, so I'm kind of doing the whole thing after a while.
One-man show.
Yeah. And then eventually I'm doing, I decided I want to transition to doing film. So I've been doing film about 6-7 years, and before that, 5 or 6 years of theater.
So now when you started to work on this piece, when is the show? When are your showings? Have they showed it already at the Pan African Film Festival?
No, it will have Darhi will have its world premiere Friday 2 o'clock, Saturday 2:30, right there at the Rave Theaters. We actually just yesterday had the industry preview and some news stations out in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, I was going to say, because I was there yesterday and I did not see them.
We had a packed crowd, and we had a chance to really do some great in-depth Q&A with the audience. Now this will be the next test.
What kind of feedback did you get?
This kind of ties back to our teaching our youth again. One of the things I think will be very powerful in getting people to want to see it and see how it works and see why it's powerful is that all 36 characters in the feature film are played by Mike Wiley, one actor.
You work Mike Wiley. You just work him like a Hebrew slave. Man don't even get a chance to go to the bathroom. Mike, wait a minute, I gotta go. No, you got to come in here and play this character. Now, because you're only working with one, so he's playing the women, he's playing the men,
everything.
He's playing
but
everything.
It's totally cinematic. We're not doing plays. So you'll have a scene where you have 3, and one scene's got 12 of him in it. Now,
that's going to be fascinating to watch. This is a feature.
There was 2 short films that led up to doing the feature. So those were the trial grounds to make sure we could affect audiences, and it was working.
Okay.
When those were very successful, because both short films won a lot of awards. The last one, Wolf Call, screened at over 30 festivals, and it's still on tour. So we decided we can make this work. That's when we pursued the feature.
And so how long did it take you to shoot it with him doing all the characters, and where did you shoot it?
Well, it was all shot around Raleigh, North Carolina, Durham, Chapel Hill, Chatham County. So it was all done in that area. It took over a year.
What was the feedback like when you were going to the different locations, and you're saying to them, I'm doing the Emmett Till story, the lynching of Emmett Till. What was the feedback from the people, especially in the South? What kind of feedback did you get from that?
We got very positive responses from everyone we approached. Because Raleigh's a very multicultural community. There's 3 major colleges, Duke and UNC and NC State, all next door to each other. So a lot of people from a lot of places, and everyone's very open to filmmakers. I've had almost no problems at all finding places that wanted to participate.
That was really good. That's pretty good.
It's a big shout out to North Carolina.
Is this an independent film, or are you looking for a distributor for it?
Well, yeah, it's definitely independent at this point, but we're about to open the doors to. We're interested in distribution.
What do you want, especially the young people who might not know the story? You know, because when I talk to the young people, you know, they go 1955. That was way back in the day. You know, because we don't want history to repeat itself.
Exactly.
And what do you want? What do you want the young people to get out of this?
What's important is that none of these characters are made out to be like the evil bad guy wearing the black outfit. Even the guys that are the killers and they admit to killing the boy, you won't agree with their reasons, but they have reasons why they believed they were in the right. And we let them tell their story that way. Tell you no one's going to agree with them, but at the same time you at least get to see where their minds are working. We don't just make them out to be just plain bad guys. That is, you tell people...
Okay, wait a minute, but they were just plain bad guys. They went and killed a kid.
But if you immediately see the bad guy and you play the bad guy music and he's doing bad guy stuff, they're like, oh, he's a bad guy. I don't have to really pay attention to what he's talking about.
So you put humanness to these killers?
You have to know where the roots of hate come from and how they fester and how they decide to reason them and justify them.
When we come back, in studio with me is the director of Darhi, The Lynching of Emmett Till. Film is screening at the Pan-African Film Festival. We will be back right after these messages.
You are listening to the most original talk radio station anywhere. We are LA Talk Radio at latalkradio.com.
You're listening to The Mother Love Show, right here on LA Talk Radio.
And we are back. Let me get his name straight. I have director Rob Underhill in the studio. I call him Rob Underwood. As soon as you see Under, you think Wood go behind it, but he's Rob.
That's common. It happens.
Oh, so you've been called Ron Underwood before?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes right after another. Underhill, Underwood.
Rob Underhill. He is the director of Darhi, The Lynching of Emmett Till. Is your phone off?
It is off.
Okay, yes. I was going to say, because are you tweeting over there?
I'm not doing any tweeting.
Okay, I was just going to say, because people will sit here and tweet, I'm on the Mother Love Show. You need to turn on the Mother Love Show, and you should turn it on. I had asked you earlier, and tell us when the screenings are at the Pan-African Film Festival again.
Yes, Friday, 2 o'clock, Saturday, 2:30. I hope everyone will come out and witness this movie. This will be the world premiere.
What do you want people to get out of watching this?
Being a one-man movie, it's not just a gimmick. What's important is his storytelling ability, his ability to capture his audience as a one-man show really translates well, and we proved this with the short films, into the film media. So when he performs, he will grab you and take you for this ride. We heard this a lot from our test audiences, that they will soon forget that he's one guy. Oh, okay, this is Aunt Tilly. Yes, he plays women. He plays a boy. He plays a girl. He plays whites. He plays blacks. He plays everything. And you will see one face, but his expression will take you to these different characters. He's brilliant.
Where did you tell us about Mike Wiley? And where did you meet him? Yeah,
so Mike Wiley, it was just a mutual friend invited us to have a beer to discuss the one of our short films. And we just kind of hit it off from there. We worked on a project together. We really liked how it turned out. We did another, Wolf Call. And that's when we decided we needed to take the leap because people were really affected by Wolf Call in a way that we proved to ourselves that we could affect them with a feature-length film about the Emmett Till story.
Why change the name? I mean, because you got two great names. I mean, Wolf Call is a great name, you know, to be able to pull people into the story. Why change it from Wolf Call to Darhy? And why is it Dar like a how dare he? Or tell me the origin of Darhy.
Sure. Now, when you watch the film, you'll see a crucial moment where the meaning of Darhy is very clear.
Okay.
If you're looking for it. And I will do a spoiler, I'll tell you. So there's a point in the trial.
Cool, we get a spoiler.
If anybody's listening, this might be the only chance to hear the spoiler.
Okay.
So there's a point in the trial where the uncle is asked, is the man who took your nephew? He says, yes. And then he slowly stands up. And they have a famous illustration of this.
Okay.
He points a crooked finger.
I got you.
And he says, Darhy.
Darhy go right there.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's exactly where the title comes from.
And people won't get that. They'll still want to come and see the film.
But what's interesting is that's the ultimate sacrifice, because when he does that in an all-white courtroom, he knows he can no longer live there. In fact, right after the court proceedings, he packed his stuff and he moved him and his wife out of Dodge.
Right, because it would have been another lynching.
Yes.
Because how dare you come into this lily white room and stand up in this courtroom and point your finger and point him out.
Yeah, make him sound guilty.
Yeah, he was.
Which he was.
But
yes.
Which he was. So now, when you first started this story, what made you keep saying I can keep going and I can get more out of this and I can do this again, and then I can turn this into a feature film? What was your motivating force to keep you going? Because usually directors are like architects. You come in, you direct a piece, it's up, you do the thing, and then you leave and you go to the next piece. And you do some other kind of material. But you kept going with this storyline. What kept pulling you into the Emmett Till story?
I believe that I want as many people as possible to see this and to get the message. And I think the message is there and is clear. And I think it's that powerful and that important that it was worth spending the time to do it right, grab people and tell them the story, especially a new generation of people. And hopefully they'll learn from it.
How did you talk Mike Wiley into doing all of the parts? I want to know what that conversation was like. Now, man, this is what I want you to do. I want you to you're going to need to play a white man, a black woman, a little boy. We might have to dress you up like a girl.
Well, I can tell you
what
that
was
part.
that conversation about?
Well, okay, so that part's easy because he does the one-man show and he plays all these parts. So Mike Wiley gets the credit for doing the deep research into the characters, their mannerisms. He had been playing these roles for years as a one-man show before I got my hands on him. All I had to do was make sure it translated cinematically.
He had been doing
Yes.
the Emmett Till
he's
story?
got a show that's always on the road. Darhy, the story of Emmett Till. For the movie, we wanted it to be a little more on the head with lynching of Emmett Till.
A little more bite to it.
A little more bite, yeah.
Lynching got a lot of bite. So, okay, so I want to know how you talked him into playing all 36 characters in this film.
So I can say that he originally did intend, when he wrote this, it's kind of a cinematic type of one-man show he was doing. He always thought it would be a great screenplay. But he had always thought he was going to have 36 different characters playing the roles. He never intended to do it as a one-man movie whatsoever. So it was Wolf Call in particular, when you played 3 roles, and we actually had people telling me later, like, where'd you find those 3 actors? And I'm like, well, that's actually 3 of the same person. So we were convinced that he could pull it off. But we did have long discussions about things like how do we portray the women? Because it's a movie, it's a visual, you're going to have women, and he's going to be playing them. So what do we do? Do we give him makeup? Do we give him wigs? And after a lot of consideration, very careful consideration, we decided to go with a very minimal approach. Yes, there will be dresses. There'll be simple hats. He'll do the rest.
But not extensive makeup?
No makeup. He's the exact same face. Now, the reason why I think this really works is for all ages, the traditional storyteller is one person, one face, captivating an audience, maybe even millions of people with their face, TV, whatever.
Right.
And once he gets you in and you decide to suspend your disbelief, he will take you for the ride, and you'll eventually even forget it's just him. Once in a while, you get a little giggle when you get a reminder like, okay, 12 jurors rise in the jury box, and they're all him. But I think those are the kind of release we need to keep us focused
on what the story is,
and to loosen up a little bit from
the importance
intensity
of it. And as we see, this is the 21st century, and racism is still prevalent. It's not as to me it's still blatant racism out there. You still got a lot of people out here who don't think that women should do a lot of isms. Don't think that women should be in the workforce. Don't think that blacks should have access to the resources, or Latinos or Asians or anybody that's not white or Caucasian or whatever they want to call. And how do you deal with that?
I think that's a really great question. One important message in this film is by having a single face portraying whites, blacks, women, men, boys, girls, is to say we're all one people. It doesn't matter who you are, we're all in this together. We all have human love, passion, compassion, and we need to unite behind that. That's really the only thing that will move us past.
You got to get rid of the issues.
Yes.
And to me, racism is just like any other ism. It's a way to keep control of the masses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what a lot of these, especially these older people, you know, it's like, well, no, we must hold on to the power, and you'll have to rip it from our cold, dead hands. Instead of, I'll open up my hands, I'll open up my heart, and I will see how I can do what I can do to make our society more positive, more progressive, and move forward. What do you think now in the 21st century is one of our greatest ills that we need to get over, and so that we can all start working together?
Well, I think our biggest ills is that we keep transferring the same kind of problem. We keep kicking the can down the road. Mm-hmm. So now it maybe for some it's illegal immigrants. Or it could be as simple as people having problems with different people's sexuality, or in some countries, you know, if you have certain diseases, you're an outcast by default. So it's just really,
stupidity.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, and I try to get, you know, I really try to work with that, you know, and you would think that in the 21st century, that would be something that is so far behind us, because I would like to see it behind in this lifetime. I would like to see it in this lifetime. I don't want to have to wait till like the 28th century.
Yes.
You know, or like Star Trek stuff, you know. And it just seems so petty to me. That's why, you know, I think this is going to be such a powerful piece in the festival. So when you presented it to the festival, because you've been in all the other festivals, so what was the feedback like?
So, you know, Wolf Call, of course, has been in tons of festivals and won many awards, including Best Short Film at the Hollywood Black Film Festival last year, which we're very
congratulations.
proud. Yeah. So this one will have its world premiere here, and what happened was the Pan-African Film Festival, the director contacted me directly to ask if I wanted to submit Wolf Call, because it was doing so well. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I'd love to. But then a couple weeks later, I'm like, well, if you like that, why don't you look at the feature?
I
the
really
same thing,
got something for you.
Really expanded, yeah. So there was some excitement there, and I sent it in. Maybe a couple weeks later, you know, well before everyone else got to know, there was the acceptance email. I was really thrilled about that, and that gave us it's nice to have deadlines. We had a lot of little things we had to do to get the film ready, so we just drove it into third year or fourth year or whatever you drive it into and got it done.
Now you got one guy playing 36 roles, and you got to shoot these pretty much individually to get them, you know, that cinematically.
Yeah, it's all the cinematic stuff you expect, over-the-shoulder shots, you know, two people side by side talking, both mics.
How long did it take you to edit? Did you do, because the director has to sit in the editing booth.
I did some. Mostly I was there to review what had been done. Mm-hmm. Later I'd come up with a list of suggested changes. And I've got a really great relationship with the editor, Larry Gardner. He's a wonderful editor. He's the owner of what is now Trailblazer Studios in Raleigh, which is one of the biggest studio outfits in North Carolina. He's been a fantastic partner for a lot of film work. So he's the one that did all the visual effects. Mm-hmm. He'd take what we would film, put in the can, give to him, and he'd go, oh my gosh, what'd you give me? And then he'd make it beautiful somehow. So, you know, I love him for that.
You know what, and it's important when you're making movies. I've made 13 movies, and it, you know, just the process of it is just so fascinating. Yeah. I mean, you know, to see all the different, you know, you see the credits going up. Mm-hmm. So how many people, you got one actor.
Yes.
How many people do you have working on the crew?
Okay, so there's...
Because if you got one actor, you probably got one camera guy, we got one grip. Look, we're going to have 5 people and we're going to make magic.
So we'd have some pretty elaborate light setups and things like that. So we had a decent-sized crew with, you know, grip, people doing sound, of course, location sound. They were not big, giant crews by any means. You know, we had a sufficient amount to do it really well. Mm-hmm. And, of course, our director of photography and co-producer, Arvind Ragapathy,
I pronounced his name right. Got your name wrong, but I said, I wonder if I could pronounce his name.
Yeah, he's
Arvind Ragapathy.
That's right. He's been a huge blessing. He's one of our partners for a longest time. I've worked with him. He's an amazing cinematographer. He also runs his own camera. Some cinematographers, you know, they'll be DP and they'll let camera guys run their stuff, and he'll do that too. But he loves to run the camera, and he did for this. These are all pros that came together to make this possible. So we all donated, you a year of our time in the hopes of really showing this in front of as many audiences as possible. Sure, we wouldn't mind if it became commercially successful as well, but at this juncture, the most important thing that could possibly happen is many people will see it as possible.
And get it out there and let people know the story about this. And I'm just so fascinated with the fact that you keep this fresh, you keep it going. And what was the most difficult thing and your biggest challenges in shooting this piece and to continue to do this?
I think that you kind of hit it on the head there. It's just keeping up general motivation and enthusiasm and passion, because there's lulls, and Mike Wiley, me, and Arvind and Larry are going to have experienced moments when we've got other things we got to do. We're professionals working on other film projects and things too. And so every once in a while, one of my main jobs is to be the cheerleader, to be like, all right, guys, where are we and where we need to go from here? Keep reinvigorating that passion to keep plowing forward is very important, especially when you can become easily lost and everything else you have to do.
Now, is this your first feature?
This is the first feature release, yes.
So have you done other features?
I've got an unreleased feature. I've got a featurette that's going to be out in the festivals pretty soon.
Now, what's a featurette? I know what a short is, and shorts can be anywhere from 5 minutes long to... When does it stop being a short and turn into a featurette?
It entirely depends on the festivals.
Everybody got different rules and regulations.
So something like one festival might say anything over 60 is a feature, anything under is a short.
Okay.
Some might say anything under 30 is a short.
So it's very subjective.
Yeah.
So if you go because you go to so many film festivals, do you have to cut it down sometimes and stretch it out to meet the requirements, or do you just allow it to go in for what it is?
Yeah, I think that there's times you want to pursue something like that. For instance, if you're getting rejected at a lot of festivals, you might take your 12-minute movie and try to make it 6 with more punch. But yeah, once you got something in the can like this is, we might expand a little on this. There's a few things I'd like to do to it. Pretty much, it is what it is, and we're going to send it to the festivals that way. The one exception is we'd love to have it at the American Black Film Festival, but their requirement's 72 minutes minimum.
Well, if it's 70 minutes, you need 2 more minutes.
I need 2 more minutes, that's right.
That's all you need is 2 minutes. What's 2 minutes? Come on, you got one guy that can do 36 characters. What's 2 minutes to add to it?
Well, I'll tell you what, though, sometimes you would have like a 10-second scene that's awesome, and you have to have it. You'll spend, 4 hours working on it.
On that little 10-second scene. I've been there, done that. I've seen that happen. So now, you work with Mike Wiley. Are there other people that you would want to work with? And tell me who they are, and what directors do you admire?
Well, I think my girlfriend would like me to work with Ben Affleck.
What woman wouldn't?
Ever since seeing The Town, she's been convinced that he needs to work for one of my film productions. So I guess, Ben, if you want to give me a call,
okay.
we'll work it out.
Give him the number.
Yeah.
So Ben, look, I got connections with Ben Affleck.
Oh, excellent.
I know. Yeah, right. If I knew Ben Affleck, I'd have been in The Town. Are you kidding me? Now, what kind of movies, what kind of genres do you like to watch and
everything.
that you would love to direct?
Well, since I write and direct, and I love to produce as well, like in Darhi, I get to have all 3 roles to some extent. Of course, Mike Wiley he gets full credit for doing all the research and making this film. Actual content from the historical record. I mostly, as a screenwriter for Darhi, kind of helped transform it more visually and kind of make it plug in correctly to the film format. But I love to write, I love to produce, I love to direct. So all genres. I've done all kinds of things, from dark comedies to dramas to you name it.
So would you direct somebody else's work, or would you prefer to direct your own work?
The benefit of doing my own, of course, is that I get a lot more freedom to do what I want with it
and keep control of the project.
Sure. And if you're working with someone that's very flexible and I feel comfortable with, then I'd certainly be interested in directing their project as well.
So what kind of director are you? Like I said earlier, I've shot 13 films, and every one of them I had a speaking role. Just so you know, I've never done extra work.
Sure.
I've never done extra work. And so I've been with all kind of directors. What kind of director are you? Because I've been with a screaming director. I've been with a quiet director. I've been with a director that didn't know what the heck he was doing. I was with a director that just wasted film. He would shoot the scene 95 times, and he would use the first and second shot that we did. What kind of director are you?
My main philosophy is I'm working with pros, and I consider myself very knowledgeable in a lot of the different areas of filmmaking now, because I also edit and I do a lot of things. So I can bring a lot of expertise, and I can definitely understand what's happening. But at the same time, they're going to come to me with an idea. I might have an idea, and they'll come back with something that's even better. And it's my job to recognize that, say that is great. We should go with that. and then tie it together and make sure the whole picture is.
Can we do?
together.
Can we do a movie together? You're the
Absolutely.
kind of director I've been looking for.
Yeah.
You know, and I had a director like that. I'm gonna tell you who it is too. He was so cool. Paul Michael Glaser.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal, and it was just such a fun movie. And he was
And
like,
it can be.
And it should be.
It should
I
be.
think the set should be fun when you come on them. It shouldn't be, so, I hate those tense sets where you got to come in like you're walking on eggshells because you don't know what kind of mood the director's going to be in, if he's going to be on his period or what, just going to act a fool. Some of them act like they act crazy. I had one director and said, they forgot to tell me, because I was brought out here to California from my hometown, that I was doing very, very well, and I was running that town. And they brought me out here, and they forgot to give me the Hollywood handbook. They didn't give me the handbook, so they didn't tell me the rules. So I didn't know what the rules was. So when he started hollering at me, I hollered back at him. I didn't know you. They didn't nobody tell me. I'm like, I'm a grown woman. You gonna holler at me? And then, like I told you can talk to me. You might even, if you feel the need to raise your voice, but if you holler at me, I'm going to holler right back at you, because last time I looked, I did not wake up with you this morning. And he's still trying to figure out what that meant. In studio with me is Ron Underhill. He is the director of Darhi, The Lynching of Emmett Till, screening at the Pan-African Film Festival.
You're listening to The Mother Love Show, only on LA Talk Radio.
And we are back. In studio with me is a very prolific director. His name is Rob Underhill. He has directed the film Darhi, The Lynching of Emmett Till. Just give them a bullet point of what the story is about, so when they come in, they won't be shocked about it, because it can be very shocking. It's a very heavy story. It's really deep, and it's very tragic.
Well, it's an absolutely true story, of course. 1955, black boy murdered for whistling at a white woman. And of course, in the film, we coming from Chicago to Money, Mississippi, through the events of the alleged whistling, the trials right after when his body's found.
So now in the credits, tell me what the credits are going to look like. Is it just going to say Mike Wiley plays everybody?
Sure.
Or does he get it?
No. Well, cleverly, I think this is clever. So we did have donated to us historic footage of the Emmett Till trials.
That's wonderful.
Frank Beeman had an actual 16mm reel that he donated to us, and so we were able to capture that in high definition. And so that opens the movie to introduce the characters. Then, of course, Mike Wiley plays all the characters. Then at the end, we have a montage of stills that show each one of the characters with their names. So you get to kind of plug everyone together.
Okay.
In an interesting way.
Well, that's very clever.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what's coming up next for you? What are you going to do? And give the website how people can get in touch with you.
So I'd love for everyone to check out the trailer. It's just 2 minutes of your time, and I think you'll be blown away. Just go to www.darhemovie. That's DARHE movie.com, and the trailer's there. There's a way to contact us, and then also learn about where it's coming to the next festival and that sort of thing.
Now, what's the process of getting into a festival? I've always often wondered that.
Well, the magical tool these days is Without a Box. You plug in all the information, and then they automatically fill out the festival entry forms for you. And they keep a database of locations. Now, there's some festivals that don't subscribe to it, so you still have to do it the old-fashioned way. But
what's the old-fashioned way? I didn't know what way from the old to the new.
Sure. Well, now it would be.
And
just
what did you say? What did you say was the new process?
You want to use withoutabox.com.
Withoutabox.com.
That's right.
Withoutabox.com, and that's how you submit it to the
Well, that's
film
how
festival.
someone who has to put on many hats, like myself, as director and PR guy,
So listen,
can get it done easier.
Listen, when you're out there as an independent, you have to learn how to wear all the hats.
Yes.
Does it ever tire you out?
If I'm into it, I've got what seems like an endless amount of energy.
Yeah, you do.
Until I crash.
And then that's it. So what do you do to relax when you do?
Gosh, what do I do? I've been so strung up with this for the last few months, it's been hard to remember what I was doing when I was relaxing.
Because you said earlier your girlfriend wants you to make a movie with Ben Affleck, so when do you have time to spend with your girlfriend?
Yeah, that does make me wonder if she's trying to give me a message there about not spending enough time.
I think that's a big message, Rob.
That might be a big
pay
message.
attention. You want to be in the. How long have you been with her?
We've been together a couple years now.
Okay,
Yeah.
if you want to make it a couple more, you got to spend some time with her. Listen to somebody who's been with a man for almost 40-something years. Now, you brought in these beautiful ladies with you. Tell me who they are and how you know them.
Well, it's Miss Julia and her sister. They're they live right in the area where the Pan African Film Festival is. A coworker of mine introduced me to her mom. That's Miss Julia. She's hosting me for the event, and they also drove me down here to the station, so I invited them in to sit in on the radio conversation.
I think that is just wonderful. I mean, but somebody just calls you up and say, her daughter calls you up and say, Mama, will you host my friend? You don't know him, and can you just let him in the house, and will you take care of him and look out for him? Wait a minute. And you just said, yes, I'll do it?
Yes.
Because you trust your daughter?
Yes, I trust her.
And you know that. See, and you said you weren't going to talk. I knew I could get her to say something.
And the way I understand
now you on the air with me forever, even if it's just, yes, I trust her.
And the way I understand it, apparently she's grown used to her daughter's shenanigans.
Yeah, because it don't even feel, oh, yeah, she was sending in somebody I've never met. Okay, baby, come on. Oh, you the guy, come on in.
That'd be Vanita from work. She's a great gal.
So can you stay in Raleigh and make that happen?
I think it can happen in Raleigh. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they're shooting a lot of film down there in Raleigh.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources. It's very friendly. So.
Oh, well, maybe I'll come down to Raleigh and shoot.
Come on down.
So give the website again.
Yes. It's www.darhe, that's D-A-R-H-E, movie.com.
And it's about the lynching of Emmett Till that happened in 1955, screening at the 20th Annual Pan-African Film Festival. Well, Rob Underhill, it has been my distinct pleasure to have you here in the studio with me and to introduce me to these beautiful ladies. Thank you so much for hosting him. You could just feel the love coming from them. And I just wish you the best, and may the universe continue to open up and conspire for your success. And when you're here again, make the Mother Love Show your home. Even if you're not here, you can call me sometime.
Thank you, Mother Love.
You are so very welcome. And babies, you know I love you, and there's not a doggone thing that none of you can do about me loving you. Peace, babies.
You are listening to the most original talk radio station anywhere. We are LA Talk Radio at latalkradio.com.